I actually hacked from solitary confinement, if you call it hacking. The reason I was there, if you recall from the bail hearing, is I was such a threat to America, I could whistle into the phone and launch a nuclear weapon. So the judge put a court order in place with the prison saying I could only call 5 people, my wife at the time, my mother, my father, my aunt, and my lawyer. 5 people. How that would work is they'd take me out of the cell, again, through this whole handcuffing, take me into this room where inmates could make calls. And it was 3 phones there, and they had very long cords that are not typical with payphones. And what would happen is the guard would ask me who I wanted to call. He would dial 0 and then the number and hand the phone to me and sit there 5 feet away from me and just watch me to make sure that I'm not going to redial the phone. I'm in solitary confinement in a federal prison facing 400 years. I had nothing to lose. What I'd start doing is I'd start pacing back and forth because again, the handset cord was very long. I'd pace back and forth as I was talking on the phone, like to my mom. And then what I do is a lot of times I'd scratch my back and I'd rub my back on the against the phone. Then the idea came up, what if this guy that's watching me, not taking his eyes off me, I could do like a magician. I could actually, in plain sight, dial the phone and redial somebody. So at the time, my wife worked for General Telephone, and that number wasn't on the list to call, only the home number, and they would never let me call during the night. It was always during the day. And phone companies always take collect calls. So my idea was how can I call my wife at work? So I'd be on the call to my mom, and I'd be pacing, I'd be rubbing my back against the phone and scratching my back while I lean against the phone. And then what I did is I hung up the switch hook and I'm looking at the cop, but I'm still talking to, like pretending I'm talking to my mom still in conversation. And then I put my hand in front of me and I'm talking and I knew I had 18 seconds after you hang up a phone before it's gonna go beep, 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 beep. It's called a reorder tone. So I'd pretend I'm talking still and then I'd go behind with my back and I actually redial the number. It's a touchtone pad behind my back because I was very good with dialing a phone. I was a phone phreaker. Then I timed it because I knew the next thing that would happen is the operator was gonna come on the line and go, who's the call from? And then I'd say something like on the phone, well, Mom, if you could tell Uncle Harry that Kevin says hi. And when I'm saying the word Kevin, that's when the operator's asking who the collect calls from. And then I was able to actually use the system to call anybody that I wanted in front of the guard. And there's a court order, and I'm in solitary confinement in a federal prison because of the risk to the phone, yet I'm able to do anything I want. So 3 weeks later, 6 in the morning, my cell door opens and it's the executives of the prison, the associate, the person that's right under the warden, 2 of the guys. The captain sits down and goes, Mitnick, how you doing it? How am I doing what? You're redialing the phone because we're recording the calls downstairs. It's an inmate phone and we're allowed to record them. We've been listening to these calls and you're somehow redialing it and our officer is watching you and we can't figure it out. How you doing it? I go, guys, I'm not David Copperfield. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, they threw me back into the cell because obviously I wasn't gonna be an informant on myself and admit anything. So about 4 days later, I hear some commotion outside the cell. It's actually the phone company installing a phone jack outside my cell. And I'm going, are they actually going to install a phone in my cell and kind of try to restrict it? That's going to be fun to bypass. At least I won't be bored out of my mind. I'll be able to play with the phone. But that's not what happened. So the next time I had to make a phone call, they brought a phone. They plugged in the number. They asked who I wanted to call. They dialed the number. Then they put the handset through the trapdoor of the cell. So the only thing I had was the handset. So it was almost like being like Hannibal Lecter on Silence of the Lambs. So that's how they had me make phone calls in the future. And they never told the court because they didn't want to be embarrassed. So that's how I was able to hack from solitary confinement.